Good afternoon, everybody. It's Joy Lingerie. I don't know about that face I just made, but anyway, happy holidays to you all. We're on our last week before Christmas Day. Wish you all happy holidays. We have with us Deb Seymour, and she's all festive here and looking like Lady Christmas. We love it. Welcome here to our
Thank you,
program.
Joy. Delight to be here, and hello, matured musicians.
So, well, to start, I'd like to give a shout out to my sponsor, Luscious Musk Studio. It's owned and operated by Chad Christ in Edgewater. And he has the kind of studio set up for drummers. He's got all these mics on his drums and guitarists, but he also does other things. And he's created quite a number of CDs for clients. And he does a very high quality job. And his environment is very collaborative, and it just inspires creativity. He's great to work with. Anyway, with that, you can find him on Facebook by looking under Chad Christ in Edgewood, Washington, or you can find him on Facebook by typing in Luscious Musk Studio. So with that being said, good afternoon, Deb. We would like to know a little bit about your backstory and how this all came about with your music and what age you started and what instruments.
Well, my mother says I was born on Mars. My dad said probably
Really?
farther out in the flung galaxy because I'm an odd child, bit of the black sheep in the family of accountants and lawyers, and I do
Oh,
music for a living, and then also I did web development and software for years, and no one in my family understood that. But anyway, I'm originally from San Francisco, California. I also lived for 12 years in Boulder, Colorado before moving to Seattle in 1994, so that's 28 years ago. How did I get started? Well, Dad played the piano. Um, got one here.
hey.
I just started playing again because my new husband, just gave me a keyboard for Christmas. So after 39 years of not playing, but my main instrument's guitar. I started playing the guitar when I was 10, piano lessons at 3. But Dad was an only child and I was an only child, and we tended to fight over the piano a whole lot. And so when someone came to school offering guitar lessons, like they had free guitars that they were loaning the students. I didn't have a guitar. I jumped at that chance because, of course, this is the mid 70s or the early 70s when all the, we got Fleetwood Mac and the Eagles and Loggins and Messina and Crosby, Stills and Nash and CCR. And I was listening to all that stuff, especially from all my older cousins on the radio. I wanted to play that. I didn't want to play Bach and Beethoven. So,
Right.
of course, one of the second song I ever learned was Both Sides Now by Joni Mitchell and Blowing in the Wind by Bob Dylan. So a guitar was put in my hands, and after a particularly weird fight about my inability to read music, as my dad was a incredible sight reader, and I'm so jealous. I'm a very poor sight reader. I do it all by ear. It was just best that we each had our own instrument to play, and thus peace reigned eternal in the house. Well, maybe not always, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I do.
I also wrote my first song when I was 10, and ironically, it was about running away from home.
Do you have that? Do you know what it is, and do you still play it?
Oh, I can play it. It
Oh,
has
let's
3
hear it.
verses and a
Let's hear
chorus.
your
You
first
want to hear the
song.
very first? Well, shouldn't I play something more sophisticated that I wrote first, or you really want to hear what I wrote when I was 10 to all the
Yes,
mature?
I do.
Okay. Now, I didn't pick it like this, but I'm not going to play like a 10-year-old. That's boring.
Okay.
Picking pattern I developed in college.
I wish I did that.
Walking down the grove of great oak trees, walking around, thinking of thee. Thee is the land, I love it, oh. The land is grand, don't you think so? The sea is not for me, too wet, too cold, too rough for me. The land, I love it, oh. The land is grand, don't you think so? I ran away from home one day. Home was a place where I didn't want to stay. Home by the sea was too much for me. The sea, I hate the sea. The sea is not for me. Too wet, too cold, too rough for me. The land, I love it, oh. The land is grand, don't you think so? Well, now I'm free to roam the land. Oh, I think it's grand. Come on, friends, come with me. Let's be free, oh, let's be free. Everybody sing now. The sea is not for me. Too wet, too cold, too rough for me. The land, I love it, oh. The land is grand, don't you think so? The land is grand, don't you think so?
Bravo.
That's my 10-year-old song.
That's from a 10-year-old? My goodness.
Believe it or not, I have the proof too, because I have the original piece of paper that I wrote it on, and also a piece of paper from my mom's office. She worked for the Red Cross, and do you remember when a red typewriter ribbon was the coolest thing since sliced bread, and it was so sophisticated and so technologically advanced to be able to type in 2 colors? So I very carefully sat at her office typewriter after school typing the lyrics onto some Red Cross stationery, and then very carefully with a green flare felt tip pen, because my mom used green flare felt tip pens, writing the chords in very, very carefully. It's definitely my 5th, 6th grade handwriting.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I gotta shut my celly phone off. I don't know.
I better make sure my ringer's usually off, but that doesn't mean the volume is. But anyway, I wrote that song and I felt so guilty because, as I said, I grew up in San Francisco, the city in California, which is right by the ocean. And I felt like I can't let anyone hear this song because it's about running away from home and I'll get in trouble. And oh my gosh, and I forgot about it for years. It's probably absolutely, completely not surprising that I wound up going to college in the University of Colorado Boulder, way in the mountains in the land.
Yes.
What was that about? I ran away from home one day. The land, as I love it. Anyway,
my dad lived in oh gosh, I can't remember the name of it. Yeah, Carbondale, and I went up there to ski in Snowmass and Aspen.
I know where Carbondale is. Absolutely. Yeah.
It's a beautiful place. I don't know much about the university there, but I do know it's a place. So, well, I am very glad that we've heard that very first song that you've ever written. It was quite amazing.
I don't think I've ever played that live on a live stream. Hey, folks, aren't you glad you're the first?
Yes. And if you didn't hear it, you can always play this back because it'll be on YouTube. It'll be on Facebook, not only on my page, but it'll be on Matured Musicians. So those people who can't watch today will be able to watch it at a later time. So you're 10 years old. You wrote a really cool song.
Meanwhile, I'm learning Beatles and Joni Mitchell and Bob Dylan and whatever I got into. Continued, had a little band was part of a little sort of temporary band in high school called the Pacific and Atlantic and Pacific Tea Company, something tea company. Now I got to look at that. I have to look at my scrapbooks. I have posters. We did a show, and there I still didn't feel like I could write lyrics, but I set poetry to music. So my piece was an Edwin Muir poem from The Crystal Cave by Mary Stuart set to music. And it just kept going. I mean, did lots of acting in high school. I wanted to be an actress, and my goal was to be on the Shakespeare stage in Ashland. Well, I've stood on it as a tourist. That's as far as I've got there. But instead, I write songs. And it was not until I went off to University of Colorado is where I got, I would say, this more serious musical start. That's when I discovered coffee houses, and I discovered this thing called an open mic.
Yeah.
It was the Pizza Hut in the University Memorial Center, the UMC as we called it. I'm like, you mean they just let any old jerk get up there and play? And someone's like, well, you play guitar, you want to do it. And I'm like, I'll never get up there. And finally, I went and lurked at the open mic. It was done by a duo called the Lost Companions, and I wish I could remember their names because I can see their faces clearly in my head. I don't know what happened to them, but I think they had a full band, and then it was just like 2 of the lead guys that did this open mic at the Pizza Hut. And one day I just got up the nerve, and I went up and did one song, "Love Me Like a Man" by Bonnie Raitt, probably horribly because I don't play slide guitar. I still don't play slide guitar, but I got up there and did it. And it was scary as all but Jesus. I think I ate 20 pizzas to compensate after that. Anyway, but that's when I discovered open mics, and then I started hearing about open mics around town. And then once you start hearing about open mics, you start playing, and then you start meeting people. And one thing led to another. I wound up running some open mics or co-running some open mics, and met people, and I started performing out
Wow.
solo stuff. And then that led to my biggest love back then was Celtic and Irish and music of the British Isles. And I ended up forming a band called Seventh String. We were a duo and a trio. I was in a Celtic band for 6.5 years. And then I would occasionally do side gigs at coffee houses, just as me, myself, and I, as I started writing some stuff. So I was in numerous bands, and wound up, quitting the day job back then in my late 20s, moving into my van and touring for 2 years until I burnt out really, really badly in my late 20s. My 30th birthday was approaching, and I thought, I just don't know how to do this. So I ended up moving up here. I started coming to the Puget Sound Guitar Workshop. You may have heard of that. It's over in Kitsap County. It's been run. A lot of people haven't, because we live in a city, a metropolitan area of millions of people.
Yes.
Like you're cooked into a whole music scene. We share a couple people. Like, we know Country Dave Harmonson. Like,
Yes.
he's playing on my current CD. I mean,
Yeah.
he's playing. Well, he's on one song. I got to rope him in. That was an album that got interrupted by the pandemic. But anyway, Country Dave. Anyway, so Country Dave's around. So our circles couldn't do this. But
Kelly Van Camp. He often plays.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and I know who that is, but I haven't met. But I started coming to a guitar workshop here that's been running in Kitsap County over in Port Orchard since 1974, called, if you don't know about it, the Puget Sound Guitar Workshop. It's a guitar camp for
what was
Puget Sound Guitar Workshop.
Okay.
It was started by a woman in Bellingham named Flip Breskin. She's originally a Seattleite. It's been running since 1974, like way before I was cognizant. And it's still going. They have 3 sessions every year. It's guitar camp for adults. You go and you learn guitar, and they also have side sections for like a mandolin class. You learn songwriting. So I started coming up here to go to guitar camp, not knowing anybody up here. And I was still living in Colorado. And then eventually I knew I wanted to move here. So eventually I moved here after I tried the touring thing, burnt out, moved up here, because as lovely as Denver metro area is, it is an island. And once you've exhausted all your sort of gig possibilities, you have to drive 500 miles to get to another major.
Yeah.
When you think about it.
Makes sense.
Whereas on the coast, we've got Portland, and I'm from San Francisco. There's sort of this whole gig thing you can do all the way from Bellingham down. So there's definitely at the time, there were much more gig opportunities here for acoustic music. So I wound up here, I'm afraid. So sorry, native Seattleites. I'm one of those people that came from somewhere else. But I immediately started volunteering for things. So give to the community we live in.
That works.
Yeah. So anyway, and here I am. I'm still here.
Yeah, we do have a commenter that did not tell us who they are.
Okay. That's awesome. Hey, hi, awesome.
Yeah. Nice. So, how long ago did you say that was that you moved to the greater Seattle?
1994.
Oh, you've been here a
29,
while.
Yeah, not 29 years almost.
Yeah.
I've been here a while. I almost qualify for I lived in Ballard, died in Ballard. Well, no, I'm not dead yet.
You lived in Ballard.
Yeah, there's always a joke about if you're born in Ballard, you stay in Ballard, you die. I think that's gone out though, as now it's become more sort of a tech hub. This used to be like a totally middle class, working class neighborhood, and boy, has that changed in the last 27 years.
Yeah.
So
now a lot of places have changed. Right now, Redmond used to be just a quiet little community where you could live, and it was nice and quiet. And all of a sudden, they're building all these apartments. I mean, they're everywhere, and traffic is insane. Sure.
That's pretty insane over here too.
Yeah.
But
how have you found that what do you primarily play in? I mean, obviously, for the most part, you're a lone.
I'm a solo act. I have had trios and stuff at time. No. I wish I had some dramatic breakup story, but For my bands. I'm still friends with everyone I've ever been in a band with. Just things change. People get married.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
did quit playing music for a while when my parents both got sick. I was the only child, and I just couldn't book anything reliably because I was always on a plane going back down to San Francisco to manage some sort of crisis or other,
Right.
and had no energy. I was also running my own business. I had a 20-year career as a web designer, web developer. Of course, you moved to Seattle and get involved in computers.
Yeah.
So I'm a solo act. So I'm looking for acoustic venues. I play primarily coffee houses, folk festivals, and sort of house concerts are a big thing. So do you know about house concerts? Have you ever played at a house concert or been to one?
No, I'm not sure what that is.
A lot of people don't know what house concerts are, and they're the most wonderful
When
thing. They
people
work.
invite you in?
Yeah, so you find someone who is willing to host you as a musician in their backyard or their house. With COVID, it's been much backyard.
Yeah.
And it's usually one or like a duo solo act, although I've done bands. I'm both a house concert host and a performer at. It's a lovely way to present music in an intimate setting to close friends who you pass a tip jar around. And there's a known culture. People expect, if they're going to a house concert, to pay between $10 to $25, depending whether it's a solo, duo, or trio. And you get to play without the middleman, without the latte machine going in the back, without, people yelling or the TV on. And you get to give these nice, intimate shows. And so usually they're word of mouth. And of course, because you're inviting people into your home or you're playing in someone's home, you don't publicly advertise this. Or you might mention on a website that I'm doing a house concert, contact me, or something. So you never publish an address. But house concerts are very, very known among the folk community and the sort of the traditional music community, as opposed to like the rock band community or the maybe country band community, which is why it's okay if you've never heard of one. Although I've had the jug band back here, and who knows, I'm mostly jug band. So I do a lot of house concerts. As a matter of fact, I'm going to Colorado. I'm doing 2 there this summer. They're all friends who are inviting their friends over, and it's a listening environment. When you host a house concert, I mean, it's so simple. All you do is rearrange your furniture, invite some people over, and you can have food or not. You can have them bring their food or not. You can have a potluck beforehand or not. The only thing that to clear if you're the host is to tell your guests, this is not a party with background music. This is a listening event, just as if you were paying a ticket to go to the Tractor Tavern or the Monroe Tavern or whatever. I'm not saying the Monroe Tavern. I think that's just you go play, but somewhere like the Tractor or one of the venues here. I'm trying to think of or if you're going to Miller's Incarnation, you usually pay something to go to see a concert, a cover charge. So you do have to get that, because it won't work if people are like talking. So it's a listening environment. You can have the party before and you have it afterwards, but it's a listening environment. So I play a lot of house concerts.
I found one of those when it wasn't quite called that.
Yeah.
But I think that is an interesting concept.
Well, it's interesting. It's really where music started. What did people do 1,000 years ago? We didn't have big arenas and big huge bars and stuff. You had the bard going through the villages of whatever and playing music in somebody's home. And you would give the bard food and you would give them money and they would move on to the next house. So it's really taking music back to its roots. And it can work for a rock, a 4-piece band. You just have to have a big yard and patient neighbors, or you have to have a big enough house to do it. And I know rock bands who've done them in the various arenas. And just now, during the pandemic, quite a few people I know have looked at their backyard and built out like an area in their backyard to really host serious things, because there were no venues during the pandemic. So there's a sort of new thread of house concert hosts threading their way in. But coffee houses. So where do I play? I bounce between the Couth Buzzard Books in Seattle and the C&P Coffee House in West Seattle, like 2 of my main places where I go back and forth. I said house concerts. I play things like that. I play the Tumbleweed Folk Festival every year in Richland, Washington, and I'm touring. This is the odd thing that I live stream. That's the new thing since the pandemic.
What was that now? What was the new thing?
Live streaming.
Oh, of course.
In April of 2020, I knew zero about live streaming, other than I knew some people did it and it existed. And we had tried to live stream a concert from the Winter Blue Room, which is where I record with musician, producer, and studio owner Alicia Healy here in Seattle. So we had done like a little thing there, but I'd never considered ever doing it for myself. I didn't think I thought you needed all this fancy equipment, which I didn't have. I do now, but I didn't then. But I had quit my day job at the end of 2019, sold my business because it dawned on me, I'm not getting younger. I really want to try doing music full time again while I'm young enough to drive all across the country, because it's just not, I'm only 58, but it's certainly different than being 28 or 38 as far as energy levels.
Right.
And I am solo, so I do it all myself. And I decided I wanted to take another stab at being a question from a user. Hey, Patrick,
Yeah.
I'll get to your question in just a second. So I quit my job, sold my business, and was on the road when everything shut down in March of 2020. It was like, great, my timing is terrible. Why me? Why poor me? So I came back here because I did abort my tour, come back here and was sitting down in this very basement, tapping my fingers and going, well, you quit your job to be a musician. You're going to have to learn how to live stream, Deb Seymour.
Yeah.
And you cannot let anything stop you. You had a web design business. This is technical. You'll figure it out, etc. So I just got on Google and I started by streaming from the phone in the kitchen. And then we moved to the laptop down here, but it was kind of a disheveled mess. There's like cabinets behind there. I cleaned them up. And then one thing led to another. I got better cameras, which I'm using now. So I went from 0 to 60. And I live stream every Sunday, Brunch with Deb on Facebook and YouTube at Simulcast. And I also participate in tons of online open mics on Facebook,
Wow.
which I also discovered during the pandemic. A friend said they were playing at something called the Desert Southwest Open Mic. And it was almost like that first experience in college. Like, what? You mean these people on this web page, this Facebook page will let any old idiot come play?
Wow.
And from there, I found the Delco Quarantine Club out of Philadelphia, and then I found Zoom open mics. So I've played more during the pandemic than I've played in years because I don't go anywhere. I just do it from right here. Now, so anyway, Patrick O'Donnell from Dublin Abbey. Hi, Dublin Abbey. I know who you are. Anyway, so what type of gear do you frequently try yourself bringing to a house show? I personally, if it's in somebody's small living room, I go completely unplugged because it's really lovely. You can sort of stroll. But in slightly bigger venues, I use what I also use for my minors. I use a Bose stick. It's about a 15-year-old model, but the Bose stick, it's got 2 inputs. I have a box called a True Tone that goes, I can plug in 4 people. So I just use a very simple PA, really taking it from amplification to just sound reinforcement. There's sort of 2 different things. So for backyard concert, definitely, because I don't project that well. But so it depends on the size of the living room. I did a small house concert 2 weeks ago, and it was just like a 10 by 25 foot space, totally adequate, no PA at all, just project. Yeah. So hope that answers your question. Please feel to, if you have more questions, keep in the chat or come find me on my webpage, my website, and email me. I'm happy to answer questions about gear or live streaming gear or PA gear. And then Facebook, you just any sort of PA for effects or anything like that. I don't. When I play through my Bose stick, I do it just me, myself, and I. And even if I am setting up a duo for a house concert, we pretty much just keep it who we are. You can, of course, if I wanted to take the box here, I have, I could have effects. So, but typically live, I try and keep it simple because I am not a live audio person. I mean, I can do it and I do it because I have to,
right?
But I'm not, my mind doesn't quite work like a real audio engineer. If I could clone one and have them work for free, believe me, I would have someone else do sound, but I make it work.
Right now, I mean, this whole, I want to talk to you more.
Sure.
No,
I
feel like
I've been doing all the talking
here. By the way, people who are listening out there, after I put my electronic tip jar out there, I don't have Deb's skills quite honed. She's amazing, but she was my first person who ever tipped me on my new song called "Thinking About Leaving," and I am so thankful for her and helped me figure out how this is all going. And she gave me a few tips about how to do this because it is new and people are and they can scan a code like mine. They can scan the code and it takes you right there. And you don't have to worry about going up on stage and putting money in a jar and all that good stuff. But anyway, thank you, Deb, and I really appreciate that. So moving on, I do want to ask you about what kind of song, do you have anything new you'd like to play for us? Any Christmas songs? Or
Christmas songs? Well, I think I should play the one that you like so much, especially this is matured musicians, right? The little song about growing older and learning to let things go.
Oh, well, I don't know about letting things go, but I am growing older.
So you'll get you see my fingers. All right, this song is about growing older and learning to let things go. So we've gone from age 10 to age 50. I'm sitting in the bathroom as calm can be, stirring funny powders into my herbal tea. This night will be a long one, at least it will for me. For I'm prepping and preparing for that word that starts with C. Oh, colonoscopy, colonoscopy, the modern rite of passage that's finally come to pass. So colonoscopy, colonoscopy, all that I can say is it's a pain, and now lay me on a table and put me in a gown. Feed me funny drugs for to divest me of my frown. And when the doc comes in, she will smile and say to me, bottoms up, my dear, this first round is on me. Oh, colonoscopy, colonoscopy, a modern rite of passage that's finally come to pass. So colonoscopy, colonoscopy, all that I can say is it's a pain in the Lord, hear my prayer. Make my insides perfect, my insides clear. No polyps to be seen, no misdividing cells to fear. Oh Lord, if you get me through this upside down exam, I promise I will never again eat red meat, drink, smoke, or swear, or eat sugar, or chew gum. I'll adopt stray puppies and kittens, and even give up chocolate. That's what I say. Who wants to give up chocolate? Colonoscopy, colonoscopy, a modern rite of passage that's finally come to pass. So colonoscopy, colonoscopy, all that I can say is it's a whoa. Colonoscopy, colonoscopy, a modern rite of passage that's finally come to pass. So colonoscopy, colonoscopy, all that I can say is it's a big pain in the... Can somebody give me a ride home, please?
Oh, that is so cute. I love it.
I got you. I got you.
I love that. Okay, I'm going to put my banner back up here. Give me just a minute, but I wanted them to see you play the guitar there.
Well, let me know if you want something pretty. It's something funny. I can do something pretty.
You can do something pretty? Well,
I do something pretty?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do something pretty.
Okay.
This song is about thinking back on summer romance on a cold, dreary Seattle day. It's called Tropic Winds. Stormy day, clouds passing through, the hollow echo of my empty room. I dream of islands misty on the sea, the sun-kissed night you gave your love to me. So lost and lonely in my world of gray, waiting for tears to wash away. I kiss the northern wind so chill, so blue. Send my love on tropic winds to you. Fruits of passion ripe with every move, sombered on the sand, just me and you. Tangled limbs, heartbeats on the rise, gazing into summer stardust eyes. The promises won't keep another moon. Winter enters paradise too soon. I kiss the northern wind so chill, so blue. Send my love on tropic winds to you. Stormy day, clouds still passing through. The hollow echo of my empty room. I dream of islands misty on the sea. The sun-kissed night you gave your love to me. But promises won't keep another moon. Winter enters paradise too soon. Ooh, I kiss the northern wind so chill, so blue. And send my love on tropic winds to you. I kiss the northern wind so chill, so blue. And send my love on tropic winds to you.
Oh, bravo. Lovely.
Gracias.
So for those of you who may not have been here when Deb first started, she, during the COVID, was left without gigs, and she came up with home parties and doing what she was just doing now. I invited her here, and she's playing for all of you in the framework of our Matured Musicians audio streaming festival.
Mature musicians rock.
Yeah, and it was lovely. I really enjoyed that.
Excuse my reach.
And I was going to ask you, was that an original song?
Yeah, that was an original song. Colonoscopy is an original song. Tropic Winds is an original song. I have 4 albums out.
Wow.
If you want the show and tell part.
Uh-huh.
Let me see. I meant to excuse the reach again. I don't usually do that. I'm ill prepared, but we have a pile of them here. We've got Colonoscopies on Blame It on the Dog. It's produced right here in Seattle at the Winter Blue Room with Alicia Healy engineering and producing. Mama Wears a Hard Hat. I should play that one. That's country. That is totally country. Totally country. We have Cupid's Wheel, which was also produced here at the former Ironwood Studios. Oh, and Mama Wears a Hard Hat was done at the former Elliott Bay Recording, also produced by Alicia Healy. We used a different studio because she's now flushed out her own. Then Martian Tangos, which was recorded way back when I lived in Boulder, Colorado, when I was young and skinny and pretty.
Well, I don't know about
now
that.
I'm middle-aged, gorgeous, and chubby. More to love, says my husband.
More love. Love it.
Oh, speaking of labor, so I've been with the same man for 16 years, but we've been married now for 3 months. I'm a new bride, first marriage.
Yes,
Some of us start
congratulations.
late, so don't say never, and you could don't say you're too old to do something.
Right. Absolutely.
I mean, what
Good
idiot
for
gets
you.
married for their first time at 57, almost 58? Me.
That's wonderful. And I think it reminds me of I can't remember anymore if it was Robert Frost or who did it, but grow old along with me. The best is yet to be. The last life of which the first is made. I
Yeah.
believe that.
Totally. It's a second marriage for him. He was married when he was very young, like when he was 19, and divorced by the time he was 25. See, this is why I waited.
Yeah.
I was like, why did you get married now? Oh, we didn't want to rush things. I don't know. We just took us a while. Laziness, probably laziness is what it was. You just sort of settle into a groove. And it's like COVID helped. It's like, maybe we should be legally tied to each other so we have like hospital rights, especially as we're getting older. Might be smart,
Yeah.
Oh.
Cool. So we've gone through how you got started and where COVID led you, which is so exciting. I have a million questions, but it's not the forum for it. And hopefully we'll keep in touch somehow.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
All right. And I would like you to post on mature musicians. A lot of people are posting, but and not posting on mature musicians. So if you could, we'd all appreciate it because then other people can see it as well. And I'm assuming that these house parties that you're giving where people invite you into their home, like Tupperware, for example, and Avon.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same. It's such a simple concept. That's why people can't get it.
Yeah.
They can't get it. As I said, it's really something that's happened in the folk acoustic music world more than outside, but that doesn't mean other people can't do it, especially if you have a backyard. I mean, I used to produce, it says I both perform at, and I also produce I do 3 a summer. So I don't produce very many, but I do 3 a summer of my own. It's my own little, it's a micro series, and having a backyard means you can expand and have bigger bands. As long as you're cool with you, always invite your neighbors. Always.
Yeah.
And like, don't go less. And I do mine in the afternoon, so it's even less of a sound issue because if you're going from 2 to 5 in the afternoon, the nighttime ones, the sun doesn't slant. I would love to do an evening concert in my garden, but the way the sun hits would blind people. Just because I'm in the great storm of 2008, I lost like a major tree that blocked a lot of sun. But I said house concerts. You can look up Google house concerts. Okay. They've been around for a very long time, but they're kind of like this sort of best kept secret amongst sort of traditional bluegrass folky people. Yeah. But it's a great way. And also there's no middleman. So all the money goes straight to the musician. And most house concert hosts don't charge, but you can work out anything. Sometimes people, but typically they don't because of the generosity. Because I mean, if you're hosting someone, you have someone come playing for you in your home right there. In your home right there. Again, as I said, you never publish the address. You only publish it when people say they're coming. Some house concert hosts ask people to pay in advance. It has to be donation based because typically you're not supposed to run a commercial venue. So it's a donation. I just have people, they can pay in advance or they can just put something in the tip jar. And I don't turn people away if they can't pay at all, because usually somebody overpays, although it's encouraged to bring some money because you are supporting the music. We need to eat. I need to pay for my software. My goal is I just want my music business to like break even. I'm getting closer to that. No, actually, I am $143 away from breaking even this year.
Wonderful.
And it's like, I'm so close. It's like, oh my God. So if you see me busking on Facebook looking for that extra $143, I am so close to breaking even, which isn't quite making. I'd like to make a little bit of a profit, but I only have been back doing music full time since 2020. So I'm about to hit year 4, and we've been doing a slow trajectory up. And it is helping that I am doing live gigs as well as live streaming. And I'm so grateful for live streaming because I did my first tour of the East Coast last summer, which never would have happened if I hadn't made all these connections through the computer screen with cool people in Philadelphia and Boston. And they're like, if you ever come out here, we'll have you do a gig at our venue, our coffee house. So finally I said, okay, I'm coming. What's June look like for you?
Cool.
And they're like, oh, yeah, well, let's do it. Blah, blah, blah. You know, you just have to kind of say, I'm coming. I'm coming. And if you don't start, I'm going to start looking for venues. They're like, oh, no, don't call this guy. Call this guy. No, we'll do one here. You know, oh, yeah, I know. Yeah, that's great. So it's through that. And same with Arizona. I did have 2 gigs in Arizona, all because of the Arizona Live Music Cooperative and because of Fiddler's Dream Coffee House. They all did Zoom open mics during thing. And I still do open mics regularly.
You know, that's speaking of
Online.
Arizona.
Yeah, tell me about Arizona.
About Arizona, we went there February 2019, and for quite a few years, I think it was like 3 years maybe.
Yeah.
I didn't have anything to do with music because my band broke up. I couldn't stand on stage, but I started looking into this whole thing, and I thought, nah. And so I went to Arizona to meet a couple of bandmates that had played in my band. And there's in Arizona, there's a lot of
it's happening in the Phoenix area. Oh yeah,
backyard.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I never put it together like you did, and I think that's just I think it's a really, really good.
Well, I've actually been playing at house concerts for years. I mean, I first heard about them when I went to Puget Sound Guitar Workshop in the 80s. It's like, a house, a what?
Yeah.
And they said, well, it's this thing, and somebody invited me to one, and I can't remember who it was. It was a Seattle folkie. Who was it? Who was my first house gig? I had to think about that. Yeah. I'm thinking. I remember some ones I went to get, and I found out some ones in California, in the Bay Area, that were going on that Chuck Brodsky and Nikki Lehman were doing. And they did a whole series where they would get 4 friends to volunteer in house, and they'd bring people from out of state that would play each house, like on a Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday afternoon, and then they would sell tickets in advance to guarantee that the musician would have enough money to pay their plane ticket from wherever they were coming from or drive from wherever they were coming from. There's a lot of ways you could work it.
Yeah.
But typically most people just put out a basket and ask for donations and then say in the invitation, suggested donation between $15 and $20. And if you're serving food, you can charge more. I mean, there's a lot. I went to a brunch house concert on Capitol Hill for Chuck Brodsky. That's what got it to my head. Oh, you don't have to do these at night. You could do one in the middle of the afternoon or the morning.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it seems like that's not a simple concept, but it didn't occur to me until I was invited to Chuck Brodsky with some people on Capitol Hill gave a brunch show. And they charged $25 because they were feeding people. Yeah. And that was like, totally, hey, this spread music in their living room. Hey, I'll pay $25 for that. Exactly. And they had everything. I think I ate enough, like 3 meals worth of stuff at Chuck Brodsky's show. But then the idea broke. It's like, oh, you don't have to do it at the typical hours when we're all rushing around to doing the bar venues. Mm-hmm. And the nice thing about doing afternoon house concerts, then, like yesterday, even live streaming. Yesterday, I do my regular lunch live stream, and then I went over to the CMP and did an afternoon gig. In theory, I could have done an evening gig, although I don't have enough energy to do more than 2 gigs in one day, whether it's doing or not. But see, I know that you're a whole part of the whole sort of the country scene over like in the Monroe.
Actually, I'm not.
I thought you were.
No, I go to the jams. I go to
the jams. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're not country. They're all rock.
Oh, they're all rock. I'm sorry. Why did I say country? It's because country. It's because of country Dave. Darn him. Love you, Dave, if you're watching this.
Yeah. No clue. Absolutely
no. But see, there's a whole rock. No. Yeah. Well, there's a whole rock and roll scene over on the east side too.
That's right.
In the tavern. So I mean, you're going. Are you at the Monroe Tavern? I looked this up on your website, and I can't remember because I'm on camera. I'm forgetting everything I looked up on you, like some of the jams that you're going to. What are your favorite jams? I know.
Well, I like Doug McGrew and Lynn Sorensen's jam out at the Duval.
Yeah, the Duval Tavern. Yeah, I've heard about that one. I've heard it's pretty
Twin Dragon. And the reason I like it is because Lynn is one of those people who have such a background in music that he doesn't need to know the song to pick it up.
Oh, he just does it on the fly.
Yeah. And Doug is the same. He'll take out his phone. If he says, what song are you doing tonight? He'll take out his phone, listen to it, pick it up.
Okay. Cool.
And their leads often don't know what the heck they're doing out there, but they have some really good leads that do go out there. Michael Powers, I don't know if you know him.
I've heard of him, yeah.
Oh man, he's just fabulous. And James Howard, etc. I mean, I could go on, Taryn Burnell, but I really enjoyed their jams because they can improvise to my music, and it always comes out great. And they put that rock beat in. I love the rock beat. Put that rock beat in there. The other place I like going is the Oxford on Tuesday night. Jerry Petit.
The Oxford, yeah, that one is a new one to me. I mean, I think I know about that. But the Duval
Yeah.
I used to play at the P&G Speakeasy Cafe in Duval back when that was there, and it was like right near the Duval Tavern. Obviously, it's in Duval. So, yeah, no, I've heard about the Duval Tavern one, and I just have to figure out what to do because I'd rip out. I do have a whole cover list I do when I play wineries.
Yeah.
Because when I'm doing folk festivals or house concerts or coffees, I do originals. But if I go to a jam or I'm playing a winery, I do all classic folk rock covers and rock covers. Mm-hmm.
Well, the other place is Oxford is in Snohomish, and Jerry Batista gives that, and it's all acoustic, and the people there are various ages. I mean, from younger people to older people, and they have such an appreciation of music.
That's good.
And the final place that I go is Stockton's in Maple Valley. Billy does know some country.
Is that Billy Stubbs?
Billy Shoe.
Billy Shoe. Okay. Differently.
Yeah. And he has several of them around, but he has one at Stars on Thursday night. Tuesday night, he's got Burien Eagles, I believe. So his are more like with the band.
Yeah.
And so I'm getting a variety of things. There's one up in Mercury with Richard Williams and Chris Egger, who is a blues star around these areas and belongs to the Blues Society, etc. But he also plays country. So that's up at Mirkwood on Wednesday nights at 7 o'clock, I believe, until 10 or 11. And I stop in on these and I go in there and I encourage people to do that because you learn a lot you would not learn any other way.
Yeah. There's also the 192 up in Kenmore. I know about that one. There's also the Hidden. Do you know what the Hidden Door?
Yeah, I used to go to that one.
Yeah.
What was the other one?
The other one's, it's newer. It's called the Hidden Door. It's in Shoreline. They have open mic on Sundays and Tuesdays. They also have they have an open mic and they have a back line that you can use. And then they have jams on other nights. I'm more keyed into the open mic. I'm such a soloist that I love playing with bands, but I have to completely switch my thinking.
Yeah.
I have to kind of dump. That's not good. I have to simplify. I was going to say dumb down. I have to simplify my playing if I'm playing with a band, because because if I'm doing all this stuff, that doesn't work with a lead guitarist. I have to let them take the leads. So I have to, and I do it, but I do have to change my thinking because I'm so used to being a soloist and doing all this stuff myself.
Well, we have another common friend of mine called
I'm sorry.
Dave.
Oh, thank you.
And yeah.
Really, I like cowboy hats, and even though I'm not particularly a country artist, they just look good on me. I guess they balance my face or something.
Yeah,
thank you.
Dave attends a jam on Wednesday nights at Dawson in Tacoma, and they rock. That's with Doug McGrew and Sorensen too. So anyway, so these are it's just a few. I mean, there's when you start going open mics, they're everywhere.
They're everywhere. They're everywhere.
I can't even make half of them. I just don't have the time. I go 4 nights a week, but it takes time.
No, it does take time. It's like Wednesday nights is so packed because there are 2 online open mics I do, and then of course there's also like the Black Dog and Snoqualmie. I go up to that one in person. It's just
Black Dog. I don't know where that is.
Oh, it's on Snoqualmie and Railroad Avenue. They have live music. They have forever. They were one of the few open mics that went virtual during the pandemic, so I got to know people there. It's right next door to Siglio Cellars, where I also play, where I do my covers gigs. As I said, I flip back and forth.
Snoqualmie. I'll find it because that's close to me.
Oh yeah, Oh, you do? You live in Redmond? Yeah, so Snoqualmie, Black Dog Cafe and Arts. It's Wednesday nights, like every other one is. Wednesday nights, sign up is at 6, and it's pretty popular, so you need to get there like a little before 6 to grab the sign up sheet. You get 3 songs. But this is an open mic. It's not a jam. It's like you got there by yourself or with your band, so they don't have a back line. But they do have a piano available if you happen to play piano. And they have good sound and really kind people. And they're kind enough. They have a bunch of my albums on consignment, and they have great food. Oh my God. Great food.
Check it out.
Yeah, check it out. So Black Dog, that's been going on for a very long time, and they have live music Fridays, Saturdays, and then Sunday afternoons. So.
Do you have, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions after. I'd like you to play us a Christmas tune if you have one in there.
Oh dear. Okay. Yeah. That have to be a cover. Sure.
Okay. What song would you like to play for Christmas for us?
This one.
The weather outside is frightful, but the fire inside's delightful. As long as you love me so, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. Well, it doesn't show signs of stopping, so I bought some corn for popping. Turn the lights way down low. Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. And when we finally kiss goodnight, oh, I'll hate to go out in the storm, but if you just hold me tight, all the way home I'll be warm. Oh, the fire out slowly dying, but my dear, we're still bye-bying. But as long as you love me so, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. When we finally kiss goodnight, oh, I'll hate to go out in the storm, but if you just hold me tight, all the way home I'll be warm. Oh, the fire is slowly dying, and my dear, we're still bye-bying. But as long as you love me so, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. But as long as you love me so, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow.
I believe it's
Thank
snowing
you.
outside.
You put us in the Christmas spirit. And
Oh.
speaking of Christmas, I do want to make an announcement. I usually say things after our guests are no longer with us about what's coming up, but this year, Christmas and New Year's, there will be no stream. And I need some time off, and I'm sure you guys are going to enjoy the holidays. And many of you will be out on New Year's and probably still hungover by Monday. So, beside of that, that's the way it's going to go.
Who, us? Hungover?
Hey, show us your cup there. Put it up.
Oh, Mama Wears a Hard Hat. Then you have to make me play the song.
That's
Mama
wonderful.
Wears a Hard Hat. That's the title of my third album.
Yeah, that she has Merc, so you can look that up too when you see
Look,
her.
it even matches. Oh my goodness.
Oh, cool. One of the questions I want to ask you is, how long do these house parties go?
Usually 2 hours, it's like 2 to 5, or 7 to 10, or 7 to 10, or 2 to 5. Usually you book about 3 hours, and you have doors open at 1, or potluck at 1, music at 2, hang around and jam. Some people do jams afterwards, or song circles.
Yes,
depends.
awesome.
It just depends. Yeah, some people will throw together a song circle at the end and let people participate. As I said, there's so many ways you can work it. A way you can work a house concert is as endless creative as you can get. Yeah. So, yeah, that's one thing. So, like 3 hours.
3 hours.
Yeah.
All right. I like the idea of the jam afterwards, too. That's really cool.
I've been to ones where there's like a little song circle afterwards, or like a little sort of impromptu open mic. So, sometimes that'll bring people in who just want to play. It's like they want to come hear the music, but they also are itching to play. There was a series pre-pandemic. They haven't been up and going, Tall Timbers House Concert Series, where they definitely did that over in Lake Cushman. I was thinking Hood Canal just because I was thinking kids out that way. That way, southwest.
Well, then I have another question about, if all your experiences through the years of music and playing in bands and playing at open mics and doing these house parties, singing parties,
mm-hmm.
What would you say was one of the, or maybe they all were, I don't know, but do you have one that just stands out as really being stellar, something unusual?
God, something? A stellar concert? God, that would have been there's a bunch of them. Having the Austin Lounge Lizards play one of my originals with me at the Boulder Folk and Bluegrass Festival, getting to open for Leftover Salmon at the Boulder Theater, I actually did a little intimate house concert for my super fans, the folks that buy all the stuff, and they got a special secret invitation. I just had it here in my house. I had a super fan friend who was coming up from LA, and I was supposed to have had a gig at the CMP on December 10th, but I got bumped in favor of a private party rental. So I said, why don't I just have her here with her family, and I'll invite some of my other top supporters. So that was kind of as a thank you, because I've had some people who've been, I have one friend who's bought 9 Blame It on the Dog mugs. I mean, she deserved a special little thing. Right. So we had this special little thing that was just... And they bought more stuff. It's like, you guys, you've already bought stuff. They're like, well, we have to buy more stuff. It's like, this was supposed to be a thank you concert. What are other gigs that popped out? God, there's so many great songs. I mean, the Tumbleweed Folk Festival is fun every single year in Richland, Washington. It's worth the drive. It's like Folk Life Light, because you don't have quite as many stages. It's not quite as noisy and crowded, but it's full. Plus, you can jump into the Columbia River after your set, and especially when it's 90 degrees. What other special things have I done? There's so many. Oh, having a Grammy nominee Tim O'Brien play on one of my albums. Wow. That was really fun. He was in between stuff, and I've got one famous person in the bluegrass world playing on my CD. Let's see, and then just going back east this summer for the first time, playing the Extreme Folk Festival in Philadelphia. It's like this funky old hippie folk festival, the Extreme Folk Festival, not your grandfather's folk festival. And those guys were wild, but and I'm not even a local Philly person, but they wanted me to play, and they paid and they fed me, I got to play some of my more really raunchy songs and risque songs at the folk festival. Some of my, you think colonoscopy is weird. There's some weirder ones I have to select audiences. But just going back east and being so graciously welcomed into people's venues. One Broadway Collaborative was a great show. It was live streamed. I could go on. There's just a lot of them. Hey, last night's show at the CMP Coffee House in West Seattle was full. There were 50 people in there all singing along. That was a pretty special concert. That was a mix of originals and some Christmas stuff. So I was sort of switching my set around depending, because my family showed up and they wanted to hear X, but then a group of ladies came in, they wanted to hear Christmas, and I was, so I was kind of like playing to their table and playing to their table and playing to their table. It was a kick.
Wow. Exciting.
But got my family singing the Christmas songs, and got the ladies in the back learning some of my original parts, singing Bad Cat on the Bad Cat song.
It sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for people like myself who are kind of in a holding pattern right now? I'm not really going out there and trying to get gigs and breweries or wine.
Live stream. You already have the tools. You are on StreamYard. You could do a concert every day from your living room to your Facebook page.
Well, like I said, I have to have somebody else with me. I'm not as gifted as you are.
Well, I don't know. Do you have anyone who's had all their shots, or I don't know how to do it? Yeah. So live streaming, definitely keep talking to your audience and keep going to your jams. That's a good idea to do. Right. I mean, and if you have But
I like this house party now. That is something I could do.
You could do. Yeah, you could host it used to be considered kind of, what's the word, gauche, or just undid to like host a party at your own house concert at your own. You really have to say house concert, not party, because if you say house party, that implies that you're having a party with background music. Yeah. Whereas a house concert is a listening experience. Yeah. And I'm being really clear on that, because they really are different, and you want to set expectations in the right place. Yeah. But you could host a house concert. And what I do here in the summer is I have one where I'm always one of the acts, and then I invite a guest to be the second act. So it's a co-bill, which always brings in more people. It's more fun. You can learn each other's stuff. Have you as an act, but since the pandemic, a lot of the sort of house concert etiquette rules have changed, and I think it's fine to host a house concert at your own house, and like you run it, you can have a guest come in and play with you, or just do it on I have one friend who does them in her backyard. She doesn't do it for money, but she just once a month, in the summer, Ann Rademacher, she just has her friends over, and she just wants to play. So she plays. I do it for some money, because this is what I'm doing right now. But there's a lot of ways you could do it, and you can feel free to ask me questions. But yeah, I think that would be something. Yeah. So now I thought I heard you playing guitar. What do you mean you're not gifted?
Well, I don't
You
feel.
don't have to play. You don't have to play like I do. Just strum.
I never learned that finger picking that you did, and so
Strum.
I have mostly played with bands. I mean, prior I didn't, but
Running down the
it's
road, trying to loosen my load.
yeah.
Having women on
Need a
my mind.
partner.
You could do that. See, yeah. Do the one that's told me to. The one that owned me once. Says she's a friend of mine. And that's just strumming. You can just
That's all I
strum.
do, and
You don't have to be
I'm
me.
learning tricks here and there,
Yeah.
but I keep it simple, like you said. You said exactly what I'm finding is that my playing was always kept simple because you've got the lead, you've got the bass, and you've got the drummer.
You know, no one can be Joanne. Only you can do that.
Thank you.
So if you just get on and do a live stream, let's do a half-hour live stream. Half hours are good for live streams because it's about 6 songs, and that's about what people's attention spans are. Is it just do your songs that you do, and just strum it. Or
good idea. Anybody out there listening? I have a few people who are where I'm at too, but I don't want to be exposed. I got problems, so I don't want to be out there where the flu and COVID. I've had all my shots and all the rest, but germs are out there.
They are. I mean, I still mask everywhere I go, and people stare at me, and I don't care because I have too many gigs. I'm going out and about and I'm doing these gigs, but I just stay masked until I'm singing. If people have a problem, tough,
Yeah. And so I'm playing it easy, but streaming, you can't get germs.
No, you can't.
And you can't miss it when it snows because the roads are all closed.
Well, my challenge for you is to attempt to do a live stream sometime in the next month and just to make it half hour. And just remember to keep talking. Like, I mean, you already know how to talk through a camera. You're doing it right now. A lot of people are like, I mean, you already have a whole bunch of skills that a lot of folks don't, which is you're comfortable in front of the camera, and you've got the setup. So you could easily do a concert, and you don't have to have a backdrop like this. I just wanted to, just me. I have a theater background, so I wanted to make it look good.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure your background's tidy, and yours is, and your lighting's good too. I don't know what you're doing, but you've got good light right now. And just make a little announcement on Facebook, and then definitely put up your link to your tip jar. Don't forget that, because maybe no one will pay, but if you don't give them an option, people want to pay something. You got to give them the opportunity to do it.
Yes.
And make it really obvious.
So with that, I thank you for everything you brought in.
Thank you for having me. This has been great.
It's great. You are a very creative woman, and where things go.
And if any of the audience out there, if anyone has questions, I'm at debseymourmusic.com. I can't put that in the chat, but maybe you can.
Mm-hmm.
And live concerts come out. So first of all, I live stream every Sunday except for Christmas Day, but New Year's Day I will be live streaming every Sunday at 11 a.m. Pacific. I'm on Facebook and YouTube. It's free. I do put a link for tips if you feel inclined. I do a half hour of whimsical originals and a couple of classic covers thrown in there. You're all welcome. Be right here. I change my flowers in my outfit every week. So next week it'll be past Christmas. I'll probably be in winter blue. I don't know. I haven't decided. I have a whole collection of flowers. It's fun. And then live, if you want to catch me in person on January 14th. January 14th. Yeah. Saturday, January 14th, Lynette Hensley, Peggy Sullivan, and I were all acoustic singer-songwriters. We will be doing a Gals with Guitars, a songwriter concert at the Couth Buzzard. It's a bookstore in Seattle.
I've been there.
They have an open mic on Wednesdays, too. Everything's Wednesday. Why don't they have an open mic on, like, Sunday nights or Mondays?
I used to go there.
Yeah, so the Couth Buzzard. So there'll be 3 of us playing. We're just going to be going around sharing songs.
Yeah.
And then for those of you who love good wine, I will be at Tinte Cellars in Georgetown on Thursday, the 26th of January. This is all on my website. This is under shows. So I'll be playing one. And that will be, me sitting in the corner while everyone has their cheese boards and their wine. And I'll be playing all your classic folk rock covers from the 70s, 60s, 80s.
Oh, fun.
Sneaking in a few originals, but I'll be down there if you'd like to come support Tinte Cellars. That's also no cover. So none of these have any covers. It's all tips only. But I'd love to see some of you and say, hey, I saw you on Matured Musicians and you're a weirdo.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to love about yourself. We came down here to have a glass at Tinte Cellars.
Well, with that, I guess it's time to end it. And I'm sure there's so much more we could talk about here today. And so I'm going to have you back in the future sometime, Deb.
Sure.
I know you'll be on another adventure somewhere. So
thank you so much. This has been fun, Joanne.
You're
And
welcome.
I'm going to try and get one of these jams that you go to so I can actually see you in person, and then I'll have to simplify my plan.
Well, some are good.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's okay. It's like I have to do it, but it's like then you get like the full band experience. It's like it's wonderful playing with a drummer. Come on.
Absolutely. So with that, I do wish you a really happy holidays. And if you pardon me, I don't know if you say Merry Christmas or not, but I am. I'm going to say Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. I just I do Christmas. I do Christmas for my friends who do Hanukkah. It's the second day of Hanukkah. For my friends who are, some of them celebrate solstice. Some do Kwanzaa. Right. They do it all. Yes. I'm Miss Christmas girl, but But like yesterday, I sang a Hanukkah song because it is the second day of Hanukkah, and I kind of like lighting the lights tradition. I kind of almost wish we had that in the same. I don't know, whatever. It's all about world peace, trying to find peace. So peace to everybody.
Again, thank you so much for sharing your story and your music, and I will see you down the road, I'm sure.
Bye-bye. Get in the road. Bye-bye.
Well, that's it, everybody. I truly enjoyed Deb today. I hope you did as well. You can always view this on YouTube and on Mature Musicians and my Facebook page afterwards. It will live on YouTube. And there will be no streaming on Christmas or New Year's. Now, maybe New Year's could possibly happen, but I'd announce that ahead of time. But for right now, no Christmas, no New Year stream. I want to thank you all for listening, for being with me all year long, and enjoying the things that we've put here. If you have any suggestions, please go to Mature Musicians on Facebook, to the group at the little microscope at the top, that little search button, and put your suggestions in there. I'm happy to consider them. In the meantime, once again, have a happy holiday, Merry Christmas, and happy Hanukkah, everyone. Bye-bye. It always takes a minute to get off here. Hang on. Thank you.